This is a Boeing 777-200ER. Specifically, it's the aircraft assigned to Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. On March 8, 2014, it was scheduled for a routine red-eye route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. The 777 is known as one of the safest and most reliable commercial jets ever built. That night, 239 people from 14 different countries were on board, settling in for a standard 6-hour journey. The men in the cockpit were highly experienced. Captain Zahari Ahmed Shah had logged over 18,000 flight hours, and First Officer Fariq Abdul Hamid was completing his final training check on this exact aircraft model. The weather was completely clear. The plane was fully functional. At 12:42 a.m., they took off and climbed smoothly to their cruising altitude of 35,000 feet. There was no physical or mechanical indication that anything was wrong. For the first 40 minutes, ground communications were routine. At 1:19 a.m., as the plane approached the edge of Malaysian airspace, air traffic control asked the cockpit to contact Vietnam. First Officer Fariq replied with a standard sign-off, "Good night, Malaysian 370. This map tracks the flight path right after that call. At exactly 1:21 a.m., just as the plane crosses into Vietnamese airspace, the aircraft's transponder is manually shut off. The plane instantly vanishes from civilian radar screens. Controllers in Kuala Lumpur and Ho Chi Minh City immediately tried reaching the cockpit via radio. They got nothing but silence. There was no distress call, no emergency ping, and no automated alert of mechanical failure. By sunrise, the airline had to confirm the situation to the families gathering at Beijing's airport. A massive search operation launched immediately in the South China Sea, focusing the search grid right where the signal dropped. Commercial airliners weigh hundreds of thousands of pounds and are actively tracked by overlapping global networks. A modern Boeing 777 does not simply stop existing without leaving a trace. Civilian radar relies on a plane's transponder to actively send back data. If someone switches it off, the plane disappears. But military primary radar physically bounces radio waves off solid objects in the sky. It doesn't ask for permission to track you. This radar visualization reveals what the Malaysian military discovered days later. After the transponder went dark at 1:21 a.m., the physical plane was still there, and it executed a sharp, deliberate left turn, abandoning its route. It flew back across the peninsula toward the Andaman Sea. They tracked this ghost flight for an hour, until 2:22 a.m., when it finally crossed their radar's outer limit. The search grid shifted again when a satellite company in London named Inmarsat looked through their own logs. Their satellite, parked over the Indian Ocean, had been picking up automated signals from MH370. These signals were simple electronic handshakes or pings, designed to keep a network connection open. They didn't transmit location data, but the system recorded a ping every hour until 8:11 in the morning. That meant the aircraft continued flying for another 7.5 hours after going dark. Engineers analyzed the signal timing and frequency to calculate the distance between the satellite and the plane at each ping. The math produced two possible flight paths, a northern arc over Central Asia and a southern arc into the ocean. Because northern radars saw nothing, investigators concluded it flew south until the fuel ran dry. These signals forced investigators to completely abandon the original search areas. They now had to comb through the southern Indian Ocean, one of the most remote, deepest, and stormiest bodies of water on Earth. With no physical wreckage in sight, an information vacuum formed. Years dragged by, and multiple theories emerged. Was there a massive electrical fire that incapacitated the crew? Did hijackers break into the cockpit? Or did one of the pilots intentionally doom the flight? 16 months passed. Then, in July 2015, the first verified wreckage appeared. A Boeing 777 flaperon, a moving part of the wing, was found washing ashore on Reunion Island, thousands of miles away. Over the next few years, ocean currents delivered more verified pieces of MH370 to the coasts of Madagascar, Tanzania, and South Africa. This scattered debris definitively proved the aircraft was destroyed in the ocean. But here is the agonizing reality of those findings. The twisted metal confirms the end of the flight, but it offers zero answers about who was flying it, why they turned, or exactly where the main fuselage and the black boxes are resting. In July 2018, an international team of investigators released a final report. They concluded that the communication shutdown and the course changes were deliberate manual actions. But without more data, they could not identify the person responsible or their motive. Despite scanning tens of thousands of square miles of the seafloor and utilizing private exploration ships equipped with autonomous underwater vehicles, governments eventually suspended the search operations entirely. We live in an era where satellites map our driveways and phones track our steps. Yet this disappearance proves that an enormous machine can still slip through the cracks of our global tracking networks. For the families and friends of the 239 people on board, the suspension of the search means living in a state of permanent uncertainty, trapped in a void without answers. Until the main fuselage is located and the flight recorders are recovered, the fate of MH370 stands as an open wound and the most haunting mystery in the history of modern aviation.